Hey there, it's Matt from Walsh Homes and Academy Home Buyers, coming back at you again today with a video about why I do not think the housing market is going to crash anytime soon, right? Let me state, I am not a financial advisor. I am just a guy who's into real estate and I'm studying it to find out for myself. You know, what do I do? Should I buy more properties? Should I sell some properties? What should I do? And I'm trying to find answers for myself, and I think I found some answers that I'm going to share with you. All right? If you go online and you look on YouTube and you see all the gurus, they're all talking about how, you know, it's going to crash soon, it's going to crash soon. They've been saying that for months and months and months and months and years, right? The bubble's going to burst. The bubble's going to burst. I don't think it will, and I'm going to tell you why. We're going to look at it from a satellite view. It all comes down to numbers, right? So all these gurus and all these smart people, you know, they're looking at charts and they're looking at, you know, at days on market and all these things, and it's a W and it's going to go down, or if it's a U, it's going to go up. And maybe this data worked years ago, but it's not working now. And it's evident by the fact that, come January, come the first quarter of 2022, it's all gonna crash. And, the houses are still selling right now in December with 5-6 offers, over asking. They're selling in a day, right? The average day on market right here in Virginia Beach, I think, is still 14 days. That's ridiculous, right? Here's why, in my opinion. Let's go back and look at the generations, the most recent generations in American history. We got the baby boomers, the Generation X, the millennials, and then after that we have our Generation Z, as they're calling them, right? So the generations are, basically the large segments of the population that impact society. That's kind of how they divide them up. All right, so we got the baby boomers, and this is what we're going to be looking at, right? They account for about 71 million people, all right? Generation X, all right, the guys born between 65 and 80, you're 65 million people. Right now, your millennials, these are the people that were born between 81 and 96. 72 million people, on par with the baby boomers, right? That's what we're looking at. So we're going to go over here and we're going to say the baby boomers turned 25. Why are we talking about 25? Because historically, in modern history, around 25 is when most people start to get married, have children, and need a home of their own and start buying houses, right? So somewhere around here, we'll call, because it's a span, is when the baby boomers started to turn 25 and buy houses and get into the market of purchasing property, right? So that's 71 million people, roughly, that established themselves as homeowners, right? So now we're going to go over here to, let's say, right around here, in this window over here, is your Generation X. This would be my generation, right? I'm in my mid-40s. And right around here is when you were turning 24, 25, 26, getting married, having children, buying a house, right? Right about here, met my wife, my gorgeous wife. I'm sitting outside, rolling her eyes as I make these videos. Okay, got married and had kids, right? All in that window. I fit the mold, right? Okay, now we're going to go over here to our next big group, is our millennials, all right? When did the millennials turn 25? Right about over here, right? Here's your millennial problem. Here's the problem. These guys turned 25. What did they just experience? The great meltdown, the government mandated meltdown of the homeowner market of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They just witnessed their parents and their friends lose their money, lose their houses. They're underwater. They don't want to buy a house, and they didn't, right? The market didn't start to correct until back over, later on. But for all these years, they're like, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to live in my parents' house. I'm going to help my parents pay, their mortgage. I'm just going to go to school. I'm not interested in the rest of this stuff, and I certainly am not interested in buying a house, right? Well, fast forward. What do we have now? Generation Z is coming of age. They are buying houses and getting married at around 27 years old. Well, what's the millennials doing? All they did was push it forward. They're now doing all the same things except at 32 years old, which puts them what? Right here. Okay, so what do we have? We have a convergence of 72 million millennials and 67 million Generation Zs all coming together and starting to get married, have children, and buy homes. Right? This is massive. This is a massive amount of people that need homes. And we're not talking about, the latest iPhone or new cars or whatever. No, everyone needs a place to live. And this is the demand side right here. This is the demand side. And guess what? We all make fun of the millennials, right? Anyone behind the millennials, we make fun of millennials, right? Oh, they just want to stay at home. They don't want to... Well, what did they do? They did stay at home. They stayed at home with mom. And they got good jobs. They graduated college. And they've got money. So these are all good buyers. These are people that have been out of college years. They're established. They have down payment money. And they have the ability to get a good mortgage. And they're not even looking at starter homes. Now they're coming in and looking at step-up homes, right? So this is a huge, huge market. Why is that different? Why is that different from over here, right? What happened in, in this 05, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 when the bubble burst? The difference there was it was government created. What do I mean? The government came in and said, oh, you have to, home ownership's a right, yada, yada, yada. And they forced the banks to make loans to people that would never get a loan, right? So the banks were giving $500,000 loans to people with no jobs, no documentation, no credit, 100% loans, right? And then the government was coming in and supporting those. So you had a lot of buyers here, but when that ended, they all fell out because they weren't good buyers. These are good buyers. These are good buyers. They're not going away anytime soon unless the rest of the economy crashes. So that's huge. So we have 72 million plus 67 million people all coming of age needing a house right now. Now, what else happened? What was the other byproduct of this housing meltdown over here, right? What was the other byproduct? Builders, right? If 06, 07, 8, 9, 10, it now costs me more to build a house than I can sell it for. Am I going to build it? No. All right. Builders shut down. This was a big issue in some places like Florida. There were developments underway. People invested money and they just stopped building. Midway through said, look, we're putting up our hands, we're walking away because we're losing too much money. Right? So we did not build enough houses for the 72 and the 67 million people. Right? So that's the second leg of this, is that we did not build enough houses. They barely built enough to keep up. We need to build about 500,000 houses a year just to keep up with the houses that are lost to fire, natural disaster, obsolescence, right? So about 500,000 homes a year just need to be rebuilt, right? So the first 500,000 are just keeping up. And then the population is increasing, right? Population is increasing. So for these years, we did not build homes. That's why you're seeing people, they're saying that we're short 5 million homes right now in America. Because we used to build like 1 million homes a year, and we didn't build them in 07, 08, 9, 10, 11, 12. It wasn't until like 13, 14, 15 that builders started to get back in the game. Okay, so we have a major demand. We have low supply, and what else is hitting supply? And this is something that nobody else talks about. Other than these things I've seen other people talk about, but no one's talked about, right? Life expectancy. The baby boomers, right, born between 46 and 64, okay, they were expected to live between 65 and 70 years, male and female. Okay, and it's going up and up, 70 and 77, now 73 and 79. So what does that mean? That means that we have people living 9, 10, 11 more years than they used to. How do homes get vacated? When people die. So not only do we have more people buying, fewer homes being built, but we also have millions of homes not being vacated because the people are living longer, right? So this is the Matt Walsh theory from a satellite view of why the housing market is not going to slow down anytime soon. Now, are we going to see some settling of prices? I think so. There are certain places like parts of New York, and I reference New York a lot because that's where I'm from, and I think places in Texas, where the prices in the last year or two went up, 100%. And that was fueled by the mass migration from COVID, right? People were already leaving the cities. These millennials were already coming to the realization that they don't want to live in the city anymore. They want to live in the suburbs, and that was already starting to happen. And then COVID happened, and it took 10 years of migration and put it into a year, right? So that really fueled home prices. So some places like Austin, Texas, I think, went through the roof. I think you're going to see some settling off. You might even see some lowering of prices, but a little bit. We're not going to see a crash because there's just, these people, 72 million and 67 million, need a place to live, right? They need a home. They're trying to buy them. For years, we didn't build any homes. So there's no homes for them to buy, and people are living longer, so the homes aren't being emptied out, right? People are living longer, and so there's no homes to buy. So this is my opinion as to why if you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for this bubble to burst, and you're going to get it, you're going to be waiting forever, all right? See how Generation Z right now is like 67 million? They're smaller than the other generations. Okay, smaller than millennials at least, and the baby boomers. So we can project, let's move forward, in a few more years, you'll see the housing market go down because there's fewer people. But right now, we have the millennials and the Z, both educated, both with money, both good buyers, trying to buy houses all at the same time, and they're not there. And I think if you're waiting on the sidelines, you're going to be waiting a long time. All right, if you need a house, if you need a place to live, now is the right time to buy. You have to get in there. The only way you can win the game is to get in the game. And I think sitting on the sidelines waiting for, something to happen is not the right answer. And that is why. All right, fellas, until next time, have a great day.